Hey there everybody, welcome back to the final installment of Quarantine Storytime. We will be finishing up the last two short chapters of Curse of the Mud Spirit. This is a book written by me, Halen Teal, illustrated by Cameron Roark. If you would like your own copy of this, it's totally free. Just send me a comment or some sort of message with your email address and I can send it to you. It's complete with illustrations. I just love sharing my stories with you guys, so of course it's totally free. So let's get started with Chapter 9. Andy moved down the steps, surprisingly unshaken after just seeing Tammy's head bitten off by a mud monster. He moved closer to the stairs, to the kitten, asking quietly, "You're not going to bite my head off, are you?" "No, Andy, I won't. My name is Philip, and this is my house," said the kitten. "Oh, I thought you looked familiar." There was an odd silence where Andy sat down on the step above. "I was just kidding that it was a joke." The kitten began telling Andy about what had happened on that fateful day when he was working in the garden and got taken by the previous mud spirit. He continued with his meeting Thomas and how they came back here to take Andy's head and win back Tammy, who he thought he had loved so dearly. Only to discover she never loved me. I was just fooling myself because I thought I loved her just the same. "I see. So is Tammy?" asked Andy. "No, she's fine. She will be the new mud spirit now. They will be back any moment." Meanwhile, inside the mud, Thomas and Tammy's eyes all filled with white. Their brains appeared, floating in the silence. "Tammy, what will you make me? What will I turn into?" asked Thomas in anticipation. You're a mud monster!" shouted Tammy's brain, and everything went dark. The feeling was quite new to Tammy. She could not feel any part of herself, not even her own thoughts. Thomas, however, recognized it and would never forget it for the rest of his life. He would also never ever feel it again. After the brief weightlessness, the two floated to the surface of the mud pool, orienting themselves into their new bodies. Tammy did this with a scream. "Andy, help me! Andy, help me! I'm drowning! Please, Andy, help me!" flailing around like a drowning wallaby. But Andy just sat there, for he too had come to the same realization that the kitten had, that Tammy was no good. After flopping around in her new mud spirit form, she slowly turned the theatrics off, seeing Andy just sitting on the steps watching her with a flat expression. She knew then that she was alone. She had alienated everyone who tried, and you really had to try to love her. That was the most alone you can get in the whole universe. Coming to a standstill in her tantrum, staring both at Philip and Andy, a brown bubble floated up beside her. Up the stairs came the new Thomas. He was no longer the mud spirit, but as Tammy had said, he was a mud monster. He was in his human shape and size, with Thomas's old features, but seemed to be made entirely of mud. Standing waist deep next to Tammy, he looked at his hands front and back, exclaiming, "Cool!" "Tammy, you're the mud spirit now, and you must do what I tell you," said Philip. "Eat your own body, don't give me any lip, and get out of my house. None of us ever want to see you again." Tammy's mouth fell open. She looked lost and hopeless. "Now you have to go out on your own. You have to," said Thomas, but he was interrupted by Philip and Andy shushing him quiet. They thought it might be better for her to figure it out for herself. Chapter 10. With the mud spirit now gone and out of their lives forever, our three heroes got in the Datsun Z and left to drive across town to Thomas's mother's house. Thomas had acquired his muddy overalls and his favorite hat, which his mother would never be happier to see. I guess I was lucky when I had my head bitten off when I did. I might have married her like you did," said the kitten from the back seat. "Oh, I never married her. She would only call me husband when she was mad at me. She would have never married me. She loved herself too much," explained Andy. "She's never loved anyone else the way she loves herself." Sitting there, Andy realized he loved himself more than he ever loved her, making him feel very empowered and fulfilled. He loved himself too much to stay with her any longer. The kitten realized he loved himself more than he ever loved her, making him feel very warm and happy. And Thomas realized he had missed hamburger night again. He was getting more and more excited to see his mother. All in all, it was a happily ever after. Thomas and the kitten remained friends under one roof, having adventure after adventure together due to Andy and Thomas's mother getting along rather well. They all loved one another as they loved themselves, being the best of friends, and mending what, on all sides, was a broken family that didn't know they were broken until they found each other and glued themselves together for an improved existence. Thomas's mother never again threw away his hat or complained about his horrible little overalls. She loved Andy's thick glasses and would garden with him any time possible. She learned to love mud through gardening and her son, and never, ever pressured him to stay clean or bathe again. What was the point? The end. Thanks for reading Curse of the Mud Spirit with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate the time you took to listen to all these videos. And for those of you that have read this in the past, I know a few of you said you've actually read this to your kids. That really made my day. There's really no other reason that I write other than just to share my ideas with people. I have two other books. They're definitely not suitable for kids for the most part. One is horror sci-fi, and the other is really hard to explain. It's been a hit with you guys, and I really appreciate that. It is surrealist modern western. I don't know. It's bizarre to explain, but if you're interested in reading because you're stuck at home, send me a message. I'm happy to send you those ebooks as well. And thanks again. I hope you guys stay safe and clean and happy and occupied. Bye.